I want to talk about employment passes, and this is quite interesting because I know Singapore has had some changes recently. But generally speaking, for someone, you started a company and you want to bring in professional staff from outside of the jurisdiction. What is the threshold in Singapore, generally speaking? I know it's unique to industry and stuff like that, but generally speaking.
Okay, Singapore has a few passes. So the most popular being the E-pass and the S-pass, employment pass and the S-pass. So employment pass is a lot for professionals. So for PMET, they name it PMET. So that is at least $5,000 a month, Singapore dollars a month, to get employment pass. But it also depends on nationality. So it doesn't mean that if you pay someone $5,000, you get an employment pass straight away. So it very much depends on the nationality, obviously, right? So S-pass, on the other hand...
Sorry, and just to clarify, PMET, professionals, managers, executives, and technicians?
Technicians, yeah, yes.
Okay, right.
Right.
Okay.
So on the other hand, S-pass is for skilled workers, skilled and semi-skilled worker, a lot lower. So the requirement is at least 3,000 a month. You can get the S-pass. So S-pass, definitely that works on quota. So quota basis. So if you have a lot, let's say if you recruit local citizens, being PR or Singapore citizens, it goes by quota. So for our industry, like accountancy, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 7-1. So every 7 locals that I hire, I get to hire one work permit pass.
S-pass. One S-pass.
One work permit pass. Yeah. But S-pass, you can hire, but it's subject to levy. Yeah, subject to levy. Yes.
Okay, great. Ravi?
Yeah. Malaysia, as what Singapore has also, we have for professionals employment pass. We have for employment pass category, we have 2 categories here. One is the basic minimum salary is 10,000. That's the first year. Okay, the employment contract can be up to 5 years. Okay, the maximum. Then under this category, dependent pass is allowed. Okay, so the minimum, let's say, is a foreign-owned company, means the paid-up capital must be at least 500K. That is the minimum paid-up capital, 500K. Then the second,
and it must be in a Malaysian bank.
Yes.
Liquid, 500K liquid in them. Okay, right.
Yes, yes. So, look, they say paid-up capital 500K. It's not to say a liquid cash 500. They can have asset also. Technically, they always know how to work out this 500. But technically speaking, if a new company means, of course, it's going to be based on the liquid. If a long-term company means maybe they already have an asset or something, it can be part of the paid-up capital. It's not an issue as long as it's part of the paid-up. Okay. Then the second category is minimum salary is 5,000, maximum to 999. That's the second category there. Second category, the employment pass you have for 2 years. You can do a contract up to 2 years. You can get a dependent pass on this also. Same paid-up capital, 500. Okay. The other question, if let's say the company directors himself is a foreigner, he want to apply for this thing, the paid-up capital must be at 1 million. So that is a bit more. You must have a 1 million paid-up capital there. So the other thing is now all these are under online. We have to apply online. That means you have to register before you apply the EP itself. You must register the company first. The company who's applying the EP will apply themselves online. It is not through the agent nowadays. Maybe what the agent will do, the agent will register the company there. Then they will use the company's login to apply the function. That's how the system runs at the moment.
Just like Singapore. Okay, understood.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. And Singapore also has the dependent pass, which is attached to the employment pass. But one change that has been recent in the past few years, is that the dependent pass used to be able to work once there's a letter of consent, but I believe that's no longer the case. So if someone is on a dependent pass and they need to work, they need to get an EP themselves. What about in Malaysia? If someone is on a dependent pass attached to an employment pass, can they work, or would they need to apply for an employment pass? Okay,
They couldn't
same.
work. They have to surrender and apply for it.
Okay, same. I can see in many ways Singapore and Malaysia move in lockstep with each other. Okay. Uh, Connected to the idea of an employment pass, it used to be relatively common for an entrepreneur to create a company and have that company apply for the employment pass. At least when I arrived in Singapore like 10 years ago, it was not easy, but it was possible. But progressively, it's becoming more and more difficult for that to happen in Singapore. Am I correct in saying that, Bunya? Well, how does it work for that entrepreneur? They have a startup, they have an idea. Are they able to create a company on their own and then that company give them an EP?
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. So definitely yes, but it's getting a lot harder these days. Okay, reason being is the government tried to avoid phantom EP. Okay,
Yes.
so in a way, you take up the quota, you don't really belong in Singapore, and it's not fair to others, right? So that's the whole idea, okay, that I see. But obviously now, if a foreigner would really start a company and stay in Singapore to work, have to submit a business plan, right? The recruitment plan, things like that. The short-term plan, 3 to 5 years plan, what you plan to do in Singapore with the company. Will you bring your family, things like that. So all in all, these are important characteristics for the government, as in for the manpower ministry, to consider whether to grant you an employment pass.
Okay. And what about Malaysia? Is that possible?
Yes, as possible. As what I told earlier, just what Bundi also say, you must incorporate the company first to apply. Then your paid up capital must be 1 million. Okay. Then as what Bunip say, you must get the government's approval. This is not, they simply won't give you apply, also they won't give. It's because certain industries like trade industries, you're doing trading, all this, they want to protect the local industry. So they want to see whether which one you can enter, which one you cannot enter. They will decide. So there's conditions, license to apply. You must fulfill all these things before you can proceed for the EP.
Okay, great.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.